the second verse. I slept, but my heart was awake. Listen, my lover is knocking. Open to me, my sister, my darling, my dove, my flawless one. My head is drenched with dew, my hair with the dampness of the night. I have taken off my robe. Must I put it on again? I have washed my feet. Must I soil them again? My lover thrust his hand through the latch opening. My heart began to pound for him. I arose to open for my lover, and my hands dripped with myrrh. My fingers were flowing myrrh on the handles of the lock. I opened for my lover, but my lover had left. He was gone. My heart sank at his departure. I looked for him, but did not find him. I called him, but he did not answer. The watchmen found me as they made their rounds in the city. They beat me, they bruised me, they took away my cloak, those watchmen of the walls. O daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, if you find my lover, what will you tell him? Tell him I am faint with love. Now, when I was growing up, Song of Songs, or Song of Solomon, as some Bibles label it, was the book of the Bible we didn't talk about. Yeah, it's there. It comes like Song, Proverbs, Song of Solomon, Song of Songs, whatever. But we didn't read from it. Never had a Sunday school lesson on it. And was told it was almost a naughty book in the Bible. And so, of course, when I was a teenager, I've got to read this. And they must have had different ideas about what was naughty back then. Because I don't think that if I ever told a woman her teeth reminded me of a flock of sheep, it would have gotten me anywhere. But that's the imagery it uses. And I was actually challenged one time by a church member, and they said, I've never heard a sermon, and I've been going to church my whole life, and I've never heard a sermon on Song of Songs. It can't be done. I said, well, give me a while and I'll figure it out. Because the book's in the Bible for a reason. And it's not for teenage boys to snicker at. It's a song, but it's actually done almost like a Greek play, where you have the bride and the bridegroom and the friends who form like a Greek chorus. And it's a love song. Now again, the imagery, our poetic, romantic imagery has changed greatly since this book was written. It doesn't appeal to us the same way it did then. But there are parts of it. When I was reading through it, the first part that I recognized was actually not this. It was from a song that we used to sing in Sunday school, which I had no idea came from Song of Songs. And it says, he invites me into his banqueting table, and his banner over me is love. I'd sang that for years. Never realized that this is where it came from. But, well, that was familiar. I couldn't really find a whole sermon based on that one verse, so I had to keep looking. And then we get this little encounter here in the middle of the song. And the woman is saying her lover came to her house in the middle of the night and knocked on the door, wanted to be let in. And I think it's very realistic. Her first response is, I've already gotten in bed. I've taken off my robe. I got to get up and put it on again. I've washed my feet. They're going to get dirty again. But she gets up. And by the time she gets up and gets to the door, he's given up. And he's gone. And she goes out looking for him. Now, this was not a proper thing that a proper lady in those days would do. She is out, an unmarried woman, out walking the streets at night. What must she be up to? Well, the city guard have an idea of what she's up to. And she's up to no good. And so she says, they beat me and they bruised me and they took away my cloak. Now, if she was a proper young woman, she would never have gone out in the middle of the night to find her lover. But love makes us do strange things. I was trying to figure out what are some of the strange things love has made people do. There's a story from ancient Greece about two lovers who lived on opposite sides of the Hellespont, which is a channel between Greece and Turkey. Extremely fast currents and dangerous. And the man swam across the channel to be with his lover, risked life and death. One of the most famous love stories of all time, Romeo and Juliet. Two young people defy their families. Their families hate each other, they fall in love. Ends in tragedy. The Taj Mahal in India, one of the most beautiful buildings in the world, was built by Shah Jahan as a mausoleum for his wife. Now, the interesting thing in the story, there were supposed to be two of them. He had this building built in white marble for her, this huge reflecting pool, and on the other side of the pool was supposed to be the building in black marble built for him. But unfortunately, nobody loved him as much as he loved his wife, and after he died, nobody wanted to build the mausoleum for her. Back in the 1920s, King Edward VIII of England fell in love with a divorced American woman and gave up his throne so that he could marry her. And recently, one of his descendants, Prince Harry, gave up his royal titles to spend his life with his wife. Strange things, crazy things people do for love. And even those of us who don't make such elaborate displays of affection or make such drastic changes in our lives, there's the old song, about love. It makes me feel real funny, makes me spend my money. When my son was when James was in college, and he wanted to have a girlfriend, I said, James, you can't afford one yet. You don't have any money. And it's not that she won't love you because you don't have money. You can't do anything for her without having some money. Get a job, then maybe you'll get a girlfriend. We do strange things for love. The woman in Song of Solomon did something that her society said she shouldn't do because of her love for her lover. Now we may ask, why is this in the Bible? And we weren't to be the first ones to ask this. In fact, it was first asked when they were putting together what became the Old Testament. And a lot of the Jewish scholars looked at this and said, it doesn't belong in the Bible. It's just a love story. It's a poem. And some of them probably said, I don't even understand what it's supposed to mean. Your teeth look like sheep, your dress look like gazelles. Strange. But one of the prominent leaders of Judaism said at the time, no. This story is not just about the love between a man and a woman. It's about the love between God and Israel. And when the Christians were putting together their Bible, our Bible, they looked at this and said, and this is also a story about the love between Christ and the church. What is one of the names of the church given in Scriptures? It's the bride of Christ. Now, what does this particular passage say about the love between Christ and the church? It says that the church is not ashamed of its love for Christ. Because the woman in this story does something that, by the standards of her day, was shameless. She was out walking the streets at night looking for her lover. Good girls don't do that. That was shameless. Paul puts it this way, I am not ashamed of the gospel. As a church, as Christians, do we love God? Do we love Christ so much that we don't care what other people think of us? Do we love Christ so much that we're willing to accept scorn and abuse from people who do not understand us? Or would we rather stay safe in our room? The woman in Song of Songs loves her lover with a love that transcends her reputation, that transcends what other people think of her and her actions, because she knows that her actions are pure and driven by her love for her lover. As a church, do we act out of love for Christ? Or do we temper our actions based upon what others will think of us? Our closing hymn is number 602. I have decided to follow Jesus.